Hi guys, this is Jalen with JT Art Journey, and if you're new here, welcome. And if you're not new here and you've seen my last few videos, welcome back. Thanks for joining in with us. So today I'm going to be sharing some tips and tricks on how to blend with markers. So I'm a mixed media artist, so I like to use color pencils, markers, paint, really anything I can get my hands on. I'm still looking for my art style, and how I envision it is just a plethora of many things combined. And I have a vision of where I want it to go. So if you guys are interested in learning on how to blend some markers, this is a beginner friendly tutorial, and let's get right into the video. All right, thanks. Hi guys, I just want to thank you for bearing with me because I'm pretty awkward in front of that camera. But anyway, we're starting off with Frost Blue. This is a Copic marker, and I'm going to be using different alcohol markers just to show you that you can blend them with each other just because they are the same base. But that first lightest color I'm starting out with is B00, and it is called Frost Blue. The next color I'm going to go in with is an Azure brand. You can get this brand at Walmart, and it is BL10, which is blue 10. So one thing that I noticed about the Walmart brand is they don't really have the hue or the shade exact color, but more just go on a basis of like a scale of using numbers. So this is blue 10, and that's going to give us our second tone of blue. And let me see, so I've just made these boxes here at the top, and this is where I'm going to swatch the colors that we're going to do our blending test with. And so I made 4 boxes at the top and then 2 underneath for some additional colors. The next color that I will be going in after this blue 10, this next one, I'm trying to show it here, it's called Tahitian Blue. It's B04, and it's also a Copic marker. And I really like the shade of this blue. Let me know down below which blue was your favorite shade. And yeah, that one's just B04. And then the last and final blue tone, we're gonna go in with our dark tone, and that is going to be B29, which is ultramarine. And this is one of the darkest shades of blue that you can get. So yeah, as you can see, we're filling in that 4th box there. And then I'm going to go in with an Azure marker, and that is green 6. So back to that number scale. And so the bottom 2 boxes, yeah, we're gonna put those as green, and that's just because I'm going to show you that not only can you use alcohol markers together, but you don't only have to blend the same color choice, but you can blend in between different colors as long as you use the correct blending technique. So that's that first green, and that was once again green 6, which is GR6 on the top. And then the next marker that I'm going to go in with is a Copic marker, and that one's going to be in the color Ocean Green, which is G28. It's really funny the differences in how they number these within the different brands. And then as you see off to my right side, there's a sphere over here. We're going to come back to that later, and I'm just going to show you how to give that sphere a little depth by blending out the blue colors and using them to really form the sphere shape and turning that from a regular circle into that sphere. So first I'm going to show you how to not blend these markers. So as you see here, I went in and I made a really harsh line, and then I'm going in with my next color and doing the same thing and just kind of blocking in that color. And as you see, I'm going in different directions. You don't want to do that. When you're blending these markers, you kind of want to make sure that you keep it cohesive by going in the same direction. So I'm blocking off each color, and as you see, there's no blending going on here except for the transition between blue 10 and Tahitian blue. Those ones are pretty close to each other, so regardless of the technique you use, that one became pretty close. But still, this is not the technique you'd want to use. And then I'm going in with that darkest blue, the ultramarine, and as you can see, these are just harsh blocky lines. You can see the separation, and that's not what we're wanting here when we want a smooth gradient. So that's what I'm writing at the top, was that this one had no smooth gradient. So that was incorrect, and it just made our colors really blocky. The next method is going to give you a smooth gradient, and as you see, I'm doing a flicking motion. And so I'm just kind of starting at the edge and flicking inwards. And you want to work fast when you're working with these markers. Then I'm going to go in with that blue 10 and flick it as well. And as you see, it's not the smoothest blend so far right now, but that is completely okay because we're going to go back over it with that original frost blue color. And we're just gonna keep going over it until we get it blended to the consistency, or like blended out the way that I want it. And don't worry, because even while it's wet, they look a little bit darker. As it dries, it definitely smooths out completely. Then we're gonna go in with, I'm still continuing to smooth out that color there. But afterwards, I'm gonna go back over that blue 10 color just to kind of like wet the surface. And then I'm gonna go in with Tahitian blue and blend in with that one. And as you see, these two colors have a pretty smooth gradient. I just really like how close these two colors are. It makes things real easy. It's definitely easiest when you pick shades that are the closest to each other, but it is possible with shades that are not. So that's what I'm doing here, is just making sure that everything is blending out the way that I want. Going over that first area just to try to get it as smooth as possible. And then I'm going back over with Tahitian blue. And then I'm going to go in with that ultramarine, as you see here, and bring in that darkest color. And as you see, this whole way I've done a flicking motion. I feel that when you do this motion, it kind of helps it to blend in the best, versus when you do those straight lines that make it really choppy. And then I'm just going to go over it with the Tahitian blue and try to blend it back out and make it real cohesive with each other. And as you see, that is giving me the smoothest gradient. And this is what you want your markers to look like when you're blending them together, is you want something real cohesive, you want something smooth. And how you achieve this is blending while it's still wet. And even though these are different brands, this is the Coptic and the Azure brand together, and as you can see, they still all blend fully with each other. In this next box, I'm going to show you how to blend. I'm going to start off with the darkest color, ultramarine, and I'm going to go from darkest to lightest. Originally, I was going from lightest to dark. And so, yeah, we're going to start with our dark tone, but I'm going to show you what blending looks like when you let them dry for too long. In some cases, it will still be able to blend, just because when you go over with the next color, it is wet, but it's best to try to blend them when they're still fresh on the page. So as you see here, I waited, I blew on it, I gave it a second to really dry, and as you see, it's not choppy, but it's also not blending as smoothly as the first one did. So I'm going to do that with each color. Just go ahead, give it a second, blow on it, try to give it a second to dry, and then go in with the next color. And once again, that blue 10 and the Tahitian blue are always going to be a smooth blend just because they are so close, but this is not the best way to do it. And then after that one, I'm gonna let it dry for a second, and then we're gonna go in with our frost blue. And as you can see, it works, it's just not the smoothest, so I wouldn't recommend this one. So So now we got all the colors in, and yeah, as you can see, you can definitely see the separation lines between each color, and that's just because we took a little extra time to let it dry. And so we are going to want to make sure that we use that second step that I was showing you, and just make sure you remember to move quickly when you're working with markers. This next box and final box is labeled different colors, and so I'm going to use the B04 Tahitian Blue Copic marker and our Ultramarine B29, and I'm going to blend those two tones together. And after I blend these one you really want to work fast because we're going to be working with different colors. So I'm just making sure I go in and get a smooth blend between those two first, and then I'm going to use the same technique and flick back over with the ultramarine just to get it, make sure that it's still wet. And then I'm going to go in with my first color, GR6, the Azure marker, and blend that into the ultramarine, and then just go back and forth between ultramarine and that green color just to get a nice blend in between the two. And then once we got that one blocked in, I went over the ultramarine again just to deepen up that color saturation there, and then went back over the GR6 so I can then go in with G28, that ocean green Copic marker, and finish out the color. So as you can see here, it is definitely possible to blend between different alcohol markers because it's the same base, and it is definitely possible to blend between different colors as long as you use the correct method and you work quickly and while it's still wet. So just want to make sure that you are specific about your color selection. And then the next thing that we are going to work on is that sphere over at the top. Here you're gonna see me start out with that frost blue color, and you definitely gotta work fast here. So you just see me taking where the light center is gonna be, and then I'm going around it with the next color, which is that BL10, and just creating the next shade to go along with it. But that first blue is going to be kind of like our highlight light center of the sphere. And all the techniques that I'm doing, like showing the light and the shadows, this is gonna turn it from a circle into an actual three-dimensional type object. So as you see, even though I have the light source at the top, we are still going to go around the edge with a little bit of that darker blue. And then I'm going to go ahead and try to smooth that out as much as possible. You see me moving pretty quickly because you have to move fast with these. And especially with this sphere, just because it is harsher lines where they're blending out at. But that's the technique I'm using here. Then I'm going in with that Tahitian blue underneath to deepen it up to give that Terminator color, which is kind of like your mid-tone. And as you can see, you see it coming together here a little bit better. Then you're just going to go back and forth between Tahitian blue and blue 10 just to try to make things look smooth. And then after I go in with that color, the next one is going to be my shadow area. And so that's going to be my ultramarine, my darkest shade. And I'm just going in with that first line right there. Then I'm going to stop and go blend in with that Tahitian blue just to make sure that doesn't dry. And here you just see me blending out that line so I don't have any harsh lines within this sphere. And then after that, I'm going to continue to fill in that ultramarine color. And then behind that, you have bounce light. So even though the light is stemming from the top, you are going to have that reflection of light at the edge of the sphere. So that's what I'm going in with now, is back in with that Tahitian blue just to reflect that a little bit. And then I'm just going along the outer edge just one time with that ultramarine. And then just blending that out smoothly with the Tahitian. And then I am going to go in and make sure things are smooth, and then I'm going to go in and label what each part is. Here you see me starting the labeling, and I'm marking out where the highlight is, the bright center. That highlight is that lightest part in the very middle. And then the frost blue around it is our bright center, or our light center. And then we have our bright side, which is where I had the blue 10 come in. And then we have that Terminator color, which once again was the Tahitian blue, our mid-tone. And then we have our shadow, which was that ultramarine blue. That's a mouthful. And then I go back in and label the bounce light with the Tahitian blue. And I'm drawing our shadow area of what would be underneath the sphere. And that's it. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this video and learned a lot. Entirety. I definitely want to thank you for that. And just to review some things, over here is where I first chose the colors I was going to use. And then I showed you the names of each and the different brands. I definitely think that's a cool thing about alcohol markers, is that it doesn't matter what brand it is, since it's the same base, they'll blend together nicely. And so here we have the different techniques, which ones work and which ones don't. And over here I listed out why they didn't work. So hopefully you're able to take note of that during the video. And then on this side, I was showing you how the colors blend together, but also how bounce light works, and comparing it when you have light hitting this part of a sphere and the shadow over here. And then when we have the arrow right here talking about the bright side, these are your half tones, so like your midway tones. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope I see you next time. Okay, thanks.